how can the school help by talking?
There's a lot over the years as teachers become more upskilled in this area. There are lots of things. One of the quite a few of the things. One of the things, and Holly mentioned before, and mentioned too, about being fearful of things. There are some tips that we've picked up in schools. For example, if a child says, "I'm scared," or "I'm this," we can say, "Well, actually, you feel scared," and putting it onto a feeling. So the same as if a child's saying they're shy, well, actually, you're not shy, you're Bob, but you're feeling shy, and that's a feeling, and those feelings come and go. So it's acknowledging that. We certainly come alongside preschools. If preschools have a routine that has worked well for them, in terms of timing, which Holly's acknowledged is very important, we stick to those times at school when a child is transitioning to school. And in some cases, when a whānau has also stuck to the same times, it's been really successful around what has happening at school. When whānau stick to the same thing, we've had a lot of success with that. If specific visuals have been used at preschool, we will often take a copy of those visuals and put them up in our toileting areas, so that any routines that have been set up, toileting songs or toileting video clips that have been successfully used by whānau and or preschool early childhood settings, we will copy those so that it transitions there. We will sometimes use soft toys, especially if there's a feeling from a child of being scared of the toilets or something like that. We may bring in a soft toy and, well, this toy here is feeling really scared about going to the toilet. Like, Bob, have you got any advice for the toy? So then sometimes if a child is unable to verbalise for themselves, you'll find out, and then it could be, "Oh, well, what do you think Bob's feeling scared about?" And it can be, then you can get around that, and actually we can take Bob to the toilet initially first. There are lots of things that we do around practicing, and I'm sure you do the same, when your child does not need to go to the toilet in a high pressure situation. So we can go and practice these things when your child is feeling calm in the same way that we learn other things. So and that's what Holly's talking about being a positive experience, that actually just go and practicing walking to the toilet and then being a reward in there. Trying to think of everything else, but another one is seeking referrals where needed, and around communication. So whether that's a daily log that can go between home and school, which is the communication, it can be times and things. Some whānau support schools really well by the reward system that we're using at school and home. It can go between. That's what we're kind of talking about around the village around your child, because your child's teacher may have quite a few needs going on at the same time. So of course we try to do our best for your child. It's really great to have a village approach to that, so that that communication. We can support better if you keep us up to date with how things are going, and especially if there is a regression. So not being fearful of if there is a regression. I certainly know when my children start school, if they have an accident, it can feel, but by nature it is what Holly alluded to before, big life changes can result in toileting regressions. So of course starting school and suddenly you have new eating routines, new friends to make, eating at different times, and one of the big changes is that at early childhood centres the time for eating could be quite different to at school, where the eating time could be quite short, especially when you've just learned that you go to the toilet and wash your hands first or by yourself. So yeah, we can help in lots of different ways, but we do seek support and guidance, and it is case by case. Yeah, but certainly allowing children, cluing into what children are telling you, even if they're unable to tell you. It can be trying to knuckle down to the part of the toileting routine that your child is fearful of, because sometimes it is a small part of it, like, you know, how much toilet paper to use. Like, we can actually, it is learning, and if we take Holly's approach that it's learning, there can be things. So even if your child could point, or is it this part, or taking that curious approach to toileting, rather than assuming that it's the noise of the flush, or it may be something completely, it may be the whoosh, like the feeling of wind.
And it's
Yes.
really important to gain your child's perspective of what's happening for them, because it's happening to their body, and to find out what their reservations are or what's happening, and not just think we know as
Yes.
well.
Is there any funding to help my child with toileting?
Yes, yeah, there is, and we do engage support for that. So if your child is starting school and pull-ups, or does require additional support, then we do need to have personnel behind that. So we do need to apply for funding, and again, that's why that early enrolment and that touching base before your child starts about how things going. And that's not to concern or worry anyone. It's really if you have a significant concern, or you feel that your child is unable to toilet. If your child cannot toilet independently at school with one adult in a room, we need to allow for that and account for that. And we just need to know and be able to have those conversations. Schools can have a lot of success because of the routines at school, and because learning through observing others. When you're in a group, in early childhood centres, of course, you're called for toilet times to come over, but you don't necessarily, you're busy playing with your mobile or having the best time of your life in the sandpit. Whereas at school, you're really, we talk to children often when they start, you're now a team, and we hang out together. So for example, which is a big step, not on your first day, not just running out the door when you're used to. So we're a team and we do things together. So in fact, the whole team goes to the toilet at set times in new entrant classrooms. So that can lead to a lot of success with toileting as well. So just like to encourage whānau not to be fearful, that we can be positive about this, and that your child, by seeing others do that, and it actually becomes, we line up and we go to the toilet, and it's very routine based, which I think provides a lot of security for children, and learning from others. They may not learn from us adults, but they may see their friends going to the toilets next door, and okay, well, they're doing it. Yeah, okay, I'll do that too.
Kids love routine.
Yes, they do.